Jersey Shore, which is generally a very busy music scene, home of like Asbury Park and Bruce Springsteen, uh, John Bon Jovi, and things really kind of died out. So we were sort of fighting for gigs this summer just to get a couple here and there. And I know a lot of people who were willing to, because they missed playing so much, willing to take a gig that was, again, very few available, and they would do it for free. So I want to know what you guys think about that. What's your take on playing in a restaurant where they are making the money and you playing for free? Let's start with you, Ken.
Oh, me? Well, I mean, it's a double-edged sword because I think in any business, the problem when you start working for free is you devalue the product. I do understand that in COVID, it's a slippery slope because certain businesses, even beyond music, have had to convert to different methods of, I guess, pricing, so to speak, because people don't have the same amount of money. But I think in music, my thought has always been that regardless of what's going on, if you're going to play for free, it just really, I think music, in my opinion at least, is an exception because it's an industry that's hurting so bad anyways, even before COVID, that you just can't play for free. It really hurts everybody. And for example, if Duke says he'll do a gig for $10 and I come in and say I'll do it for $5, and Amy says she'll do it for $0, and if you go out to California, the next thing you'll find out, which is true before COVID, was then Duke says I'll pay $50 to play.
Oh gosh.
Which is true, and it doesn't get that far off. I look at it this way. It's an unfortunate situation with COVID. We've just got to get through it, but I don't think that playing for free, in my opinion, is the answer. I just think it devalues the product and it hurts everybody. Duke?
Well, I'm sorry, I disagree with you both. I really think that the best musicians are usually the ones who play for free anywhere, anytime. I think it's always it's always those fantastic musicians who everybody aspires to be like. They're the ones who say, oh, don't worry about it, I'll do it for free, because they have the love for music. It's all about the love for the music. All the real
You
good
are dripping
players,
with sarcasm, my friend.
That's really funny, Duke. That was very funny. I was about to say, are you being serious?
Right now,
so tell
Duke's
us what you
phone
really think.
Yeah, right now Duke's phone is blowing up, Amy. It's like 20 people call him. Did you really mean that? Well, Duke, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you this much. Going back to, I guess, almost normal times, would you make an exception for a benefit?
Oh, absolutely. That's a completely different scenario. I think there are, and that's also can be a slippery slope because I've always accepted every benefit that's come my way. There's also and when I say it's a slippery slope, is a lot of times there are benefits that I've done. I shouldn't say a lot of times. There have been benefits that I've done where I didn't agree with the cause. And the reason that I did it is because I want to be consistent. If I'm going to do for this, charity, then I want to do for that charity. And, I don't owe anybody anything. I don't need to do any of these. However, to be a team player for the people I'm working with, the fellow musicians, I just go with it because the vast majority of them, of the benefits, are worthwhile causes. So if there's one in there that I don't necessarily agree with, that's all right. Do I believe that the musicians should play for free? Honestly, no. I think that despite the fact that it's a benefit, the vast majority, not all, but the vast majority of benefits should compensate the musicians, because I doubt that the waiters, waitresses, banquet hall, food, everything else is being donated. Now, if that's the case, then please let me know, because that would make me feel a lot better. I read a great analogy. If you were to say to a bunch of people, we're going to have this great party 4 weeks from now, and it's going to be elaborate. We're going to have so many things, and we're going to raise money for all this great stuff. And one of those guys happens to be a plumber, and you say to him, hey, listen, there's going to be lots of people there. Listen, we have some problems in the sink. Could you come fix it like 2 weeks before? We'll let everybody know that you fixed it, and we'll show them the pipes.
That's a great analogy right there. It really is a great analogy.
Aim, so what are your thoughts?
With benefits specifically, I play in one band who actually limits how many benefits they take, but they do agree, every member agrees that there will be X amount of benefits per year. But outside of that, they decline them because it's their time, it's time away from family. And like Duke just said, not everybody there is doing this for free. The wait staff, the hall themselves, they're not doing it for free. Now, I personally am a big national anthem singer. So I am requested for my local area, and I do sing those for free for everybody who asks me. I sing the national anthem, whether it's for the Alzheimer's Association or Parkinson's or any of those big fundraising benefits, walkathons, that type of a thing. I will always donate my time for that.
I'll throw one thing into the mix if I could, just to clarify something. If you look at some of the highest paid salaries, without getting off into a tangent, there's a common misperception people have that because it's a nonprofit organization that might be holding the benefit, that they don't generate money. And you look no further than the Red Cross, and you will see plenty of salaries in the six-figure range. So it's well known that you spend money to make money, and it's the same thing. But Duke, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was just going to make the comment that I've donated singing the national anthem for the County Deaf Association, and it went really well.
Well, Duke, just so you know, I get more requests to sing that at a funeral home than, But Aim, let's go back. Without getting off into the benefits, you weren't addressing the benefits, though, right?
No, I was not. But I will say that for benefits, I personally will do those for free. But in limitation, it will not be everyone. But I am referencing the bar business, the restaurant industry. That's, to me, it takes away opportunities to go in and say, hey, I'm going to play for, pizza and beer with no pay. Of course, they don't care. The venues don't care about, how good you are. All that they care about is what their register is ringing up. And if they're not taking money out of their register at the end of the night to pay the band, that's the one who they're going to choose. So it's taking money out of the pockets of some of these musicians. And a lot of, especially around here, the Jersey Shore musicians, that's all they do. They are musicians. They do not have a second job. This is their only income. So they are losing that money. And I just don't think it's okay.
I think that's the way it should be. We should be musicians. We should be losing money.
It's crazy.
Let me ask you both this, just a hypothetical. Let's say a bar is paying you X and they say, Amy, Duke, we're really struggling here. I don't want you to play for free, but I want you to play for Y, which is a deep discount. What are your thoughts on that? A deep discount, not just a little bit, a deep discount.
That's a personal matter. I mean, if you're willing to do that, that's up to you. There are people who would try and take advantage of that as far as bar owners. And there are bar owners who would give you money before they would take it out of their own pocket to make sure that you had it, because that's the kind of character they have. It's, the way people are is how they're going to view the situation.
So my answer to that is, at the beginning of COVID, there was a local place that had just been starting up. Literally, it was like 1 week prior. I was scheduled to play there and I was canceled because they were shut down due to COVID. So they decided to do an outdoor thing and I agreed to do it. And it was because it was my community. It was literally a 3-minute drive. And I said, you know what? Let me help you out because you're a new place. And he wound up paying anyway because he was happy with the, I considered it a benefit, but he was happy with the turnout. He made money and it was beneficial to him. So Outside of that, nope, not doing it. Sorry.
Well, let me ask you both this mechanically. How does that work playing for free? In other words, does the venue ask you to play for free? Does someone get the gig and say, I want you to play for free? Or do people just show up and say, don't pay me? How does this work?
Well, I know some people who will say, I'll just put a tip jar out and I'll make tips. Don't worry about paying me. I just want to play. And if I make $50, $60, $70 for the night in tips, it's more money than I had in my pocket yesterday. So I recently had a conversation with somebody about this who plays for free, and it was a disagreement, and the person said, well, I made this much more money in my pocket than I had the day before out of just tips. So I believe that it's offered by the musician rather than the venue saying, hey, will you play for free? Can't imagine it.
Now, Duke, I understand Amy's point, and I would agree with that. But let me ask you this much, just playing counterpoint for a second. The way Amy describes it is I'll play for tips. That happens to be in other areas, particularly in Nashville. That is the commonplace, and that's the common way things have been done for a while, way before COVID. What are your thoughts on that?
Every scene has its own culture. In the Jersey Shore, the culture is there are bands and they learn a set list, and the vast majority of them are the same set list. You go down to Nashville, it's a lot of original music, and the quality of musicians is, unmatched. They're just amazing musicians. I have no idea how much they make in tips. I can imagine that it would be very good, but it's also again a slippery slope playing for free. But Nashville has so many amazing musicians. Here on the Jersey Shore, if those Nashville musicians came up and played for tips, the guys who played for free now would never see the stage again, because if they want to compete on a purely I don't know what the word
level.
Yeah, talent level, it can't compare. So if I have to compete with somebody who is going to do something financially that hurts me financially, not me directly, but hurts the music community as a whole. First of all, that's always going to be the case. That will never change. And if I don't accept that, I'm living a fantasy. That will always be the case. I think your frustration with these people who play these gigs for free and stepping on our toes, it's a valid frustration.
So what do you do if you have, like Duke said at the top, if you have that example, even though he's being facetious, I'm sure there are people who say, I don't care about the money. I'm here for the art, so to speak. I just want people to hear me play. Do you have a problem with that?
Well, I do, because it's taking away from the people who really are looking to make a living out of it. If you want to play for free like that, get a boardwalk permit and play on the boardwalk. Over here, Asbury Park, people get permits. They sit there with their tip jars. They could play all day long if they want, and they can make some money. But to take it away, like in a paying venue, from people who are some people are literally looking to put food on their table. Some people are looking to pay their rent and keep the water running in their home. Don't take it away from them.
Duke?
It's a matter of perspective. I mean, we are in a society where capitalism is let the best man win, and if I take a gig away from you, well, I guess I'm the better man, aren't I?
Well, not in my opinion, but that's okay.
That's my point. That like the person who plays for free and plays for tips or beers or whatever, I would think in their own perspective, they're like, oh, look at me. Look who I'm playing with. Look what I've accomplished.
Yeah.
You don't even enter into the conversation. You are not, it's all about, wow, this is exactly what I want to do. So I want to switch gears here. Have you ever had somebody come up, sit in, and for those who are not musicians, sitting in means, like, for example, if I play guitar, I give my guitar to somebody else to play a song. on the Jersey Shore, it's typical if you have a musician come into the bar, you let them sit in. It's like a social norm. That's what we do. We let people sit in. And the social norm here is about 3 songs that the person will sit in.
Wow, that's a lot.
Ken and Amy, have you ever had somebody sit in and they went past that 3 songs by 1, 2, 3, or even more? Tell me about that.
Amy, you go first.
So I don't allow it, actually.
She is the mic Nazi. No mic for you.
I will allow 1. And if it sounds terrible, I take it away mid-song. I'm not even kidding.
Oh my gosh.
I do.
Wow.
I do. And I continue. That's it. But it's not usually a singer who's doing it. Usually it's somebody like Duke, you just said, with taking a guitar or maybe a drummer, or if there's a horn there. And 1 song, maybe 2, that's going to be the maximum. But I don't want to change the topic. Going back to those sitting in, what you just said, you know what, part of the reason I don't allow it is not just because they're not sounding good, but because what winds up happening is those people who go to sit in are not necessarily going to sit in because they just can't wait to play because they miss it so much. It's because they're looking to get a gig in that same location. And that's the back way in. And I've seen it happen, and I've seen them go in and say, I was with them the other night. You want to give me a chance? I'll do it for free. And that just eats me alive. Eats me alive.
How about you, Ken?
Well, it's funny you bring this story up because I still remember this very vividly. When I got married, I had my reception at the Molly Pitcher Inn. And what had happened was the band I was at the time, I had made clear that I didn't want to be bothered. I didn't want to be bothered with playing. I didn't want to have bands. We hired a band. So what had happened was my friends, and I really didn't think it would happen, came up to me kind of mid-set and said, listen, we're all here. We brought our guitars as a surprise. Let's go do a song. I was really against it because I just wanted to enjoy the night with my wife. I didn't want to have to play. So the answer is I remember the band. I remember the drum set. So I sat down. We did 1 song. Then it turned around and one of the guitar players said, they just requested this. We got to do this again. I wound up playing an entire set, which I wasn't happy about. But I got crap from the drummer, who said, he put his hands up and he came up to me and said, dude, he was like, what are you doing? And I said, listen, I, number 1, didn't ask. I said, number 1, number 2, I am the groom or the bride? The groom. I said, I'm the groom. And if they want to hear Barney, for an hour, my guests are happy. I'm playing it. So I'll never forget that, because I said, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. Then I thought to myself, wait a minute, this is my wedding. What am I apologizing to the drummer for? So anyways, I don't mind. What I look at from a different point of view, what I don't like as a drummer are 2 things. I really, truly don't care if people sit in. What I don't like is if people come up and they want to, I'm definitely not a flashy drummer. I believe in playing with the band. I don't believe in getting up there and doing Neil Peart, doing stuff that is off the wall. I don't like when people sit in and they want to start doing off the wall stuff to show that they're a drummer too. But the reason why I really don't like it is not so much that, it's just that if one person comes up and says, let me try your drums, then someone else comes up and they say, let me try your drums. And then it turns into a little bit of an open jam. And honestly, at least for some of the venues we played, they've told us they don't want us doing that. They don't want it to turn into an open mic. So sometimes when people ask, I'll say, we really don't allow that. And it's really the venue that says, I don't personally care if someone sits in. If I was out and Duke wanted to sit in, I would be thrilled that he did. Like I said, I just don't like if it turns into a bonzo bash and they're doing 6 songs and it interrupts, the show, because we're getting paid ultimately to do a show. And it shouldn't turn into that. Yeah.
But I did want to also clarify something that I said before with not allowing people to sit in. I am not talking about local musicians who come.
You are the musician Nazi. That's it. You are the musician Nazi.
No, I need to clarify. I'm talking about followers that come to a lot of gigs who they're more like, they just like to sing. They're karaoke type singers. And I can't do that because the venue doesn't want it to be that way. The venues don't want people coming up and having it turn into a karaoke night. So that's what I meant by I'll take the microphone away. I'm not talking about any of these other bands that are coming out and saying, hey, you think that we can play a song or two? That's totally different than a local musician who we know is good, skilled, talented, whatever it may be.
So
But
you
the
would let them
karaoke
play?
ones-
You would let
Oh
the,
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And we do let them play.
Well,
Absolutely.
I would imagine though this year, particularly as a singer with a microphone, you must feel very
Yeah.
uncomfortable if someone would come up and sing, I'm sure.
Well, I have to decline those. You have
Right.
to decline that.
Right,
But
right.
outside of COVID, in the past, if people want to come up and do a song and they're just, a friend or someone who just likes to sing but is not really good, I have to say no because the venue really doesn't appreciate it. But if it's a band who is, a local band, of course they can sing. Absolutely.
I've seen scenarios that you're talking about where it worked out great. One of the bands that I played with a lot when we were playing, the band leader is extremely welcoming to anybody and everybody. And one particular guy, when he gets liquored up, he wants to come up and sing. And he not only is not great, he can't remember the words, but he always wants to sing the same song. And it's hysterical. So because it just becomes a big party like this. It's karaoke gone bad, and it's
Yeah.
great. So here
Right.
he is trying to remember the words, and he laughs at himself, and we all laugh at him. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it could be fun, but I don't think that the venue necessarily appreciates, or the rest of the band. But so getting back to your question, Ken, about what do we do about it? What can you do about it? Do you
Well,
agree?
There's absolutely something we can do, and that's accept it. Once you accept it, then you move on to what can I do? Well, I can write my own songs. I can say no to anybody who says, I'll show everybody your pipes. I can adjust how I perceive these people. It's not that they're malicious. It's not that they're, they want their moment of glory.
Duke, let me take a shot at this. Amy, let me see if I could persuade you. Suppose I said to you, Amy, I am not a cover artist. I'm an original artist. I'm going to play for free because I want to promote my music. Would that change your mind?
Not if it's taking the gig out of someone's mouth. Like, honestly, there are musicians, there are places for original artists where they can go and they could do their thing. But if it's a paying venue and it's you up against somebody who says, I'll do it for free, and the person's going to get it, I still don't accept it.
So what about the musician who says the only way I'm going to get paid gigs is by doing free gigs so that people can see me, and then they start getting paid gigs? That's a legitimate way of proving their worth to a bar owner.
Get a demo, show a video. This is what I do.
I know the bars that I know of, they don't care about that. They want to know what places you're playing.
Yeah. Another option is to, like, let's just say a venue has music every night from 5 to 10. If you want to show them what you've got, offer to play for that 1 hour prior to that. Hey, check me out. This is what I do. That is acceptable, but not to take the hours where there's a musician who's getting paid and to say, well, I'll do that. I'll do those hours for free.
Duke, this could really go off in a very interesting tangent, and I'm not asking you to answer this because this is probably another pod or webcast. But
yes.
Suppose that, Amy, if you go back then a few years ago, which I thought was puzzling myself, when I got my new iPhone and I looked at it on my iTunes and I had U2's album and I didn't ask for it. I don't know where it came from. And then I did some research and figured out they gave everyone the album for free, at least for some period of time. So if you take that same principle, can I say, well, I'm in a band XYZ and wait a minute, you're devaluing everything because you're giving your album away for free. So now they expect my album for free. So it's an interesting, it seems to me, this is the way I think of it. Certain professions and certain businesses have their own little quirks. Like, for example, I've never understood why in the legal profession it's required, because I'm not aware of any other profession it's required. I've never understood in the legal profession why attorneys are required to work for free on certain cases every year. And I know people are going to say, oh, there's all the criticisms, the jokes, and so forth. There's no other profession that does that. You can't go up to
No.
United Airlines and say, I want a pro bono flight to California. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So music, perhaps, I'm not suggesting it's right or it even exists, but perhaps there's a inherent freeism, if you will, to the profession that perhaps there is, because I think Duke raises a good point. I'd be lying if I said when I first started playing that I didn't do some gigs for free, because people would say, come in and play I need you to play for a night. And sometimes if it's a big enough venue, you want to take a shot, you do play for free. Now, not perpetually. You might do one or two here that get started. You shouldn't. I think if you're doing it years into your career, that's a problem. But it's
Yes.
just interesting the way that it evolves. And again, it's a tough time because, like I said, in other businesses beyond music, I'm seeing that certain people or in certain businesses are saying, well, we have to change the way we're doing business because of the way it's breaking down. I will sum up my position by saying I think it will correct itself. I think people are just going through a hard time, but I firmly believe it will correct itself.
Hope so.
Yeah,
I think that would be great.
I think there will always be musicians who will make it a habit to do that type of thing because that's the only way they would get work. It is what it is. I don't like it. I know neither of you like it, but that's the reality.
Well, I honestly, I don't really necessarily mind it. I shouldn't say I don't mind it. How do I say this to you? I don't mind it because I've seen this done in other situations before, and you just have to sit tight. Like I said, it corrects itself.
Yeah.
Because I'm not aware of any business where someone goes out and does their work for free and it doesn't some way either get corrected or it winds up being exposed. Because ultimately, I told you, as a business philosophy, and I know there are a number of people in business who agree with me, they won't take things for free, and I won't either, because anytime I've taken a service for free, it's been not what I want or a problem.
I like to equate it to teaching voice lessons. So some of the students are my friends' children, and they don't expect it to be for free. But part of me is like, oh, should I just do it? No, I can't be giving my time and giving free voice lessons. And I like to equate it to that, where some people will say, well, it's my friend's child. Yeah, sure. Come once a week, but I'm not doing that. The only ones who get free voice lessons are my own children.
Well, I'll say this much. There's also another factor you have to think about. And I know from talking to people about this in different businesses and professions, there's a certain modicum of respect that comes with, for example, if you said, if I'm a doctor and I said, I'm going to do your open heart surgery, it's going to cost you $7.57. You'd be like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. There's a certain amount of respect that comes with charging for that. Right. And listen, I'll go the reverse way. I'll go the reverse way of both of you. I know there's several gigs I've had or bands I've had that we've had verticals, and all of a sudden they bring in a band that's charging 3 times what we're charging. Mm-hmm. And the reason is because the bar and restaurant owner feels like, well, they're charging 3 times as much. They're maybe more established, or they're established, and I think that I'm going to
maybe they're 3 times better.
Yeah, 3 times better, or I'm going to make 3 times more the amount of money. And
right.
And sometimes that hasn't happened. So it can go both ways too. But I think it will correct itself, because ultimately you just can't be working for free. And honestly, I don't think it's a healthy situation. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think it's a healthy situation unless you're truly philanthropic and you just want to absolutely donate your services. But if you want to play for free, then I follow what Amy said with the boardwalk. Go out to children's hospitals, go play for free, go play to the old folks' homes, go to the senior housing and go play for free. If you really feel that way and you want to donate your time and so forth, I would say that'd be a good thing, a good cause. I wish I could go play for free in those venues, but I'm a drummer, and who the hell wants to hear me?
I'm curious to see what the comments we have below. I definitely want to hear if you guys have an opinion on this. Put it in the comments section. We really are curious.
Definitely.